When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. Now, what's your living situation now? Do you have like an Airbnb where you're staying at now, a hotel? What does that look like for you?
So over the past week and a half, it's kind of fluctuated. We've got some safe houses that we've stayed at. We've used hotels. We've used Airbnbs. We've kind of bounced around. So the living situation hasn't been as rough as I expected. I kind of expected to be sleeping on the floor, sleeping bag and all that stuff. I think since I've been here, I've only done that like 1 or 2 nights. For the most part, we've had somewhere to sleep every night. So,
do you guys move around from location to location just to protect yourself?
Yeah, for sure. And a majority of the time that I spent here, I was spending in a vehicle. So, a lot of driving. So
what's the drive time from Poland to Ukraine? Sounds like it's a good distance.
It depends on where you're at in Poland. Warsaw is a big hub. Krakow is a big hub. I think most of that stuff is within 2 to 3 hours of those cities. Just depending on where you go.
So the biggest thing is just driving in, driving out. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, just relocation and making sure that for one, they get to the border, they get across. 2, making sure they have lodging. One of the biggest concerns is human trafficking. You got all these refugees that are coming across the border, and there's people out there that will take advantage of this stuff. And they seem not very good point. And they literally wait at the borders, and they're looking for people to cross, looking for people to take.
Wow.
And I'm sure there's been incidences where that's already happened. And because of the crisis, I mean, there's no telling how many times that has happened already. So just making sure that these people are safe. There's a watchful eye over them, that people aren't taking advantage of them. That's our biggest goal. I mean, just be there for them in their time of need. And the last thing they need to be worried about is being kidnapped as they're fleeing their country. It's war torn.
Yeah, I heard stories where some of the Russians had took some people into concentration camps into Russia or something. I heard that was going on the other side of Ukraine.
I haven't, like I said, man, there's a lot of stuff that's being pushed out in the media that, I haven't really heard. There's no telling, with what the Russians have been doing. I mean, as they pulled back from Kyiv, they're seeing, they're finding dead bodies. They're finding all kinds of stuff. That's really exposing the brutality of what the Russians have been doing in these occupied areas. If you look at Mariupol, they've just consistently bombarded, without regard to whether they're civilians, men, women. Whether men, women, or children, whether they're soldiers or civilians, they just consistently bombarded that town, and they're trying to bomb them into submission. The Ukrainians aren't giving up.
No, they're not. They have a fight that I haven't seen since the Independence Day of July 4th in the United States of America. It's like, wow. I mean, I think as Americans, we need to take mental notes on how Ukrainians love their country and are willing to protect it from a foreign invasion. And we can't even do that for our U.S.-Texas border, Mexico border.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying it, but it's been a humbling experience to bear witness to the things that have been going on here. And to be around people that love their country as much as the Ukrainians do has just been very humbling. I mean, we got people in our country that burn our flag and you know spit on it and hate the U.S. But to see people that are willing to die, I mean, literally know they're going to die, but are willing to fight and defend their country until their death, is just an experience that
It
I don't
tells
even know
me
how
that
to
there's a
describe.
propaganda war going to the United States for people that hate the United States that much. I think there's a propaganda war by somebody. I don't know if it's the universities, but the millennials seem to hate the United States of America for what it stands for. Maybe they should, spend some time with the Ukrainian people and understand what freedom looks like, what the cost of freedom is. But it's disgusting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. It's like what the
no, man.
heck?
I can't really speak to that because I
Yeah,
haven't really studied that. But um, I will say that from my experience, a lot of people in the United States live in a bubble, and they don't really pay attention outside of that bubble, um, and they don't know what life is like outside that bubble. So
there's
I would never
definitely a
want any.
false sense of security in the United States of America. We
Yeah,
have
I would never want. I would never want anybody to experience the things that are going on here, or have to see the things that are going on here. But
right.
it is a reminder that we're not bulletproof, and we're not we're not safe from everything. Um, and it humbles you, but and you really gain a sense of appreciation for the things that you do have. Um, and I'll say that with any young 18, 19-year old um, that's just graduated high school. For those of us that spent in the military, I mean, we were exposed to life in a third world country at a very early age, and a lot of that's defined us.
It did.
It's
Absolutely.
made us appreciate the things that we do have.
Right.
And if you compare those that didn't have those experiences, then it varies. Um, so while I would hate for anybody to experience this, um, I think there is a lot of lessons to be taken from it.
I mean, if you take a millennial from Ukraine and put him up against an American that hates the country and hates the flag and hates freedom, I'm sure that'd be a very interesting conversation to have in the classroom at a university.
Oh, I'm sure it would be. I mean, um, I can't say that all millennials like hate the United States and stuff. It's definitely a different generation. They have different ideas. They're more inclusive, and but yeah, if you take a 18, 19-year-old Ukrainian and put them beside an 18, 19-year-old American, um, yeah, that'd be a very interesting conversation.
I wonder how much the culture would change. I would love to hear that conversation and hear that dialogue between the two and then see
Well, I
what that
think I
looked like.
think I think too, not just to speak on that age group, but with everything that's happening in Ukraine, I think it's kind of opened the world's eyes as
Absolutely.
to, hey, you know what? This is 2022, and you know this
Right.
stuff's happening. So everybody's kind of in shock, and we're not as bulletproof as we thought we were. So I
I
think
think
it's
we had an insulation of false sense of security for so many years. Well, now the
exactly.
Ukrainian people are like the Time People of the Year in Time Magazine, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I've been watching more CNN lately just to see the coverage because Fox doesn't cover much, and I'm not a big media guy, but I want to see content. I want to see what's going on there. So I'm watching CNN because CNN is doing a darn good job covering footage of what's happening. And Fox, on the
Yeah.
other hand, is like, really? There's a war going on in Ukraine. Let's report this. Who cares about this other stuff? Politics in DC. It's like, yeah, that's the swamp anyway. It's just a cesspool of politicians. They lie to your face. But it's interesting to see how the media networks are kind of spinning and changing for coverage. It's just kind of fascinating. So, How's your spirits over there? It sounds like you've been reignited just being over there on the being there for what, a week. You just kind of reignited on just being out there and just being busy helping people.
Yeah, man. I left the military in 2012, and for a long time, I was really lost and didn't really know what my next step in life was, and just kind of felt like I was spinning my wheels. And I ended up joining an organization and just volunteering. And I once again found a sense of purpose. One of the bad things about getting out of the military is you lose that sense of camaraderie and you lose that sense of purpose. Um, so through volunteering with disaster relief organization, and I was able to go in and help people in their times of need. Again, not looking for um, any gratitude or anything like that. I mean, it's just in my nature, selfless service. And then, I eventually kind of figured out a career path, and that career path took me away from being able to volunteer. And I've recently gotten to a position to where um, I can do that. So being back out here and being able to help other people, um, and it definitely has rejuvenated me. And that sounds selfish, but that helping others is where I feel the best.
Yeah, I can definitely hear it in your voice. You just have a piece about your mind right now. You where you want to be, where you can help others, versus the United States, where private security, in that industry is such a dog eat dog industry. But you're out there in a war torn area, and you're just very content and happy about it. It's kind of surreal.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. So, but yeah, I mean, it's an honor and it's a humbling experience to be here and to be able to do this. And I'll stay as long as I can.
What's your goal? To stay out there as long as the funds are in there and that GoFundMe account, and just do what you can for as long as you can?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing everything to stretch every penny, every dollar. I mean, I'm trying to maximize my effectiveness with what I have, and there's some other organizations out here that we've kind of considered if we can't continue our own mission, then we might join up with that. But the thing about that is we don't want to abandon what we've established. I mean, we've established supply lines, we've established relationships, and these people have brought us in as their family. And um, like in our first podcast, I told you, like, all this started because of a friend of ours' wife who's Ukrainian, who had family here that needed help, and we all just kind of jumped in to help. So I mean, they consider us like family now.
Wow, how cool is that?
So
That would
it's an
give me a
honor.
lot of joy having that. Just versus working in the private sector and making whatever you make per month. It's just I don't know. There's something I can hear it in your voice. You just seem very rewarded and just very content where you're at and very satisfied. That's very rare to find in the executive protection industry.
My experience in the executive protection industry has been, I've achieved a lot of success and done a lot of things that many dream to do. Um,
Sure.
and I wouldn't say that I hit a plateau, but I mean, I was kind of frustrated with the way the industry's going, with some of the people that are within the industry, the image that they pose. Um, so yeah, I was at a kind of a trivial time when is this really what I want to continue doing? Do I want to continue to associate with this? Um, and then everything happens for a reason, and then all this stuff kicked off, and I was able um, to be here. So it has allowed me to shift my focus um, off of myself and what made me happy, and um, do what I'm good at in helping other people.
Well, I'm going to ask you the big question. You're on the Fearless Mindset podcast. What keeps you fearless in all this?
Man, can't go without saying the big man upstairs. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life, and been through war. I've been through cancer. You know, I'm here, um, and I definitely serve a much larger purpose. And upstairs definitely has graced me with that. So I can't go without saying that that God hasn't taken care of me, because He has. The other thing that kind of keeps me fearless is that through all this stuff, we all focus on being scared of death, and death is inevitable. And the only thing that we can do is live our lives to the best of our abilities until that day comes. And when that day comes, then um, hopefully we've left our mark on the world. So when it's your time, it's your time, and there's no delaying it, so there's no sense in worrying about it.
So you mentioned a few things in that response. The big man upstairs, and when your time comes, it comes, and you're not too worried about it. It doesn't even cross your mind.
I won't say it doesn't. I wouldn't say it doesn't cross my mind. I mean, obviously, like human nature, the last thing you want to do is die. I mean, I have a family. I have people that love me back in the States, and I miss them greatly. Some of them I've had the opportunity to talk to, and some of them I haven't. Of course, I'd love to see them, be there with them, and all that stuff. But they understand um, what I'm doing, and they fully support me. Um, and I do look forward to when I get to come home and see my family and spend time with them. Being away and being over here, as much as it's as awesome as it is, that human factor of love and caring and being around those that you know are part of your life is there, and I do miss them.
Do you think your faith has attributed to some of your safety and keeping you going, keeping you alive out there? Do you attribute to some of your safety to that, or is your faith keeping you just going and knowing that someone's got your back out there, higher power?
Yeah, I mean, faith plays a big part in any kind of uh, situation such as this.
Mm-hmm.
You you can't focus on the situation. You've got to understand that have faith in what you're taught and what you believe in. And if that time does come, your faith will take you in the right direction.
Right. Wow, you're inspiring me, Mike.
And man, I'm just a guy, being a guy that's trying to help wherever I can.
Yeah, I mean, just the courage it takes and the fearless mindset that you had to go over there, even when missiles are going over your head, bombs are being blown up by Putin's military, and you're just taking people into safety every day, crossing that
Well,
border.
another thing that just kind of hit me is, with our training in the military and stuff, obviously you're dealing with all kinds of things that can cause you harm or whatever. But at the heart of all that, you focus on the mission. And when you're focused on the mission, those other things kind of just handle themselves. So, focusing on the mission at hand has also alleviated a lot of the stress of the things going on around me. Because, like I said, man, your faith, focusing on that mission, and understanding that when it's your time, it's your time. You know, kind of helps you put all that stuff to the side and really focus on the need and helping others.
Yeah, have you guys been shot at by Russian troops when you're out there doing your stuff, or not really have those issues at all?
No, we haven't been shot at. I mean, the only thing that really happened was, like I said, the stuff at the fuel depot that was hit in Lviv. We've been very fortunate. We haven't had any interactions with the Russian troops. So
That's
um,
that's a blessing.
yeah, for sure. And that's largely a credit to the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian people that have held them at bay. Um, so
Yeah, they're very sophisticated. I'll give them that. I'm impressed. I thought for
yeah,
sure they would have. I was watching the news and I was expecting to see on CNN Kiev falling to Russia, but nope. I was like, how is this happening? I'm in shock.
yeah, I really think that the Russians expected them to just kind of roll over, and they didn't. They took a stand and they said they weren't going to give up, and they didn't. And um,
And then Zelensky comes out of nowhere. We all know his track where he came from, and now he's like he's talking having talks with real leaders. That's so crazy.
I mean, he's got the eyes of the world upon him, and you can either rise to the occasion or you can fall. And
Right.
he's risen above the occasion, um, and it's
It just
become
says something about mindset. It's all
yeah,
about his
well,
mindset.
yeah. I mean, there again, the focus on the mission has kept everything else at bay. So, he obviously cared a lot about his country, a lot about his people, and instead of just crumbling and running away,
Right.
um, which some leaders in this day and time I could foresee doing that, uh, but instead of doing that, he hasn't, and he took a stand, and he wasn't going to leave his people,
Right.
and he did. So I commend him, and you know, I hope that he is set a standard and not only just what he's done, but for other leaders of the world that have seen what he's done, that it kind of rubs off on them as well.
Wow. Pretty fascinating just to be, we're part of history. You're part of history right now, world history over there doing your thing. And, we got the podcast. This is part of history. This is pretty crazy, pretty wild.
It is. I mean, every generation has their times, and we've had we've been faced with a lot of trivial stuff that's going on in our generation. You know, everybody calls the War II the greatest generation, and each generation's great, and we're all going to face our own problems, and this is our generations, and it's been amazing to see people stand up to fight the war on terrorism and the things that we've done since 9/11, and now we're being faced with a much larger issue than we've seen since World War II. So um, definitely people are stepping up to bat. So I mean, it's an honor and it's a privilege to be here and to be a part of it, and it's a very humbling experience. And I'm happy to be here.
Well, it's reassuring from what you're seeing over there that supply lines are opened up. Aid is coming into Ukraine. Like you said, rescue aid. People are getting help, and then military-wise, they're getting it. Contrary to what the news is saying, so that's good. That's going to change the game in this conflict for sure. And we're about an hour and a half into this podcast, and if you want to donate, go to Mark Ledlow YouTube page, and you'll find in comments of the GoFundMe. Go in there, click on it. You got $10, $5, whatever you feel you can donate. If you have, if you're somebody of wealth and prosperity, whatever, you want to donate more, that's totally up to you. I know Michael could really use it because, like he just said in the podcast, that he wants to stay out there as long as he can because he's just finding joy and just helping these people that need so much help right now. And he's part of history in the making. And it's actually a treat for me to have him on for a couple episodes as we monitor the events that are happening in the Ukraine. So go to the YouTube and go to our last podcast, Michael H, and you'll find the GoFundMe my team put up there for him and make a donation to Mike. Mike's an Army veteran. I know him personally, and he's been out there, I think, 7 days now, and the war's been going on for I don't know how long. And he's risking his life to help others, and he's seen history in the making. So it's a pretty wild event. And I got my podcast. I'm donating my time. This is all out of pocket. I have no sponsors at all for the Fearless Mindset podcast. And I'm donating my time, my money to Mike as well, in support of Mike's mission to help out the Ukrainian people. So feel free to send that money to Mike right now. I don't want any donations. I want it to all go to GoFundMe at Mike's comment page there on YouTube. So anything you want to add, Mike, before we'll wrap this up? I know you probably got to get on with your day.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you donating your time and having me on, and I appreciate the conversation and bringing awareness to the great things that are going on over here. It's not all just bad. I mean, it's a horrible situation, but
Sure.
There's a lot of good things that are coming from this, and it's an honor to be here. It's a humbling experience, and like I said, I'll stay as long as I possibly can, because the Ukrainian people need us, and the things that we bring to the table is helping them in their time of need. And I mean, we do have the GoFundMe set up. The address is https / GoFund.me/9FD9A032. So if you can, I know that's a mouthful. So I'm sure you'll probably tag that again in your comments. But if you have the opportunity and you'd like to help, please by all means go and help us out. Again, Mark,
I'll
I
also
really
put it
appreciate
on my
it.
LinkedIn page too for you. And
Okay.
I'll also have my Bailey Kinnan put it in my social media stuff so we can get that circulating. And I'll pass around on LinkedIn. I'll put on the platform and we'll get that going and rolling.
Well, I appreciate it, Mark, and it's always good to talk to you, and appreciate what you do for not only just the industry, but for what you push out for everybody.
Hey, you're welcome. The least I can do, a brother in harm's way out there like yourself, doing what you're doing. I just wanted to support you. I know it's a big undertaking. You had to go out there and get sick, and everything you're doing is just it's dangerous. It's not peaceful at all. But with your faith, like you said, you're not too worried about it. Stay on mission, and you're having a ball. It sounds like you're having a lot more fun than I am.
Yeah, I hate to call it fun, because I mean, at the end of the day, it is in a war zone. But it's an honor to be here, and it's a very humbling experience. And there's a feeling that comes for that's you can only get in doing stuff like this.
Yeah, you're doing a major work out there. Major work. Folks, yeah, just go to that GoFundMe account on YouTube, our last recording on Mike H, and you'll see it on the subject. Make your donation, and we'll wrap up this recording. And please follow me on LinkedIn, Mark Ledlow, Instagram, the Mark Ledlow, Twitter, Mark Ledlow. I'm all over the place. So follow me for more updates in the podcast. And thanks for listening, folks. We'll be having another episode here, probably another week, to catch up with Mike and what's happening in Ukraine. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all soon.